Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know. To me, it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years. And I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
Good to be with you on this final winter day, right? It's finally winter, Abby. It's finally winter out there. It's been fall for how long?
Yeah.
It was time. Temperature had to get down. We had to see snow. We had to see ice. We had to see everything. Isn't this cool?
It's so fun. So fun driving in it.
How would you like to be in a car called upon to call every possible game you can, whether it's college or high school or whatever, and you're looked at and said, you know what? The game goes on. Well, let's get to the voice of sports on the News and Views Radio Network, who this happens to all the time. How you doing? What if you get snowed in? What is your emergency packet in that car? What you got? A candle?
I went on a package of M&Ms. Wasn't that what you asked Gene Ledoux, sir?
Gene Ledoux had M&Ms, some water, cardboard,
duct tape.
A CD, compilation CD. Just bought a scraper, by the way. First scraper I've owned in years. And it's got the handle. Yeah, I know. I usually use
Did you go broom on the other side of it?
Yes, went full circle. I spent like $8 on it.
No throat lozenges, right?
I got, after last night. Yeah, that's the problem when you talk from 4 a.m. until midnight. You sound like this.
This is the happiest day of my life.
So,
hey, I heard you say that you needed chamomile tea, and I have some in my desk.
You have chamomile?
And honey. Which
Isn't
you
that
should
a
have
Gwen
honey.
Stefani song? I'm just sipping on chamomile.
Didn't I bring you one time? Jesse Graybo's kids, they're Boy Scouts, and they gave away these winter survival packs.
Yeah.
Didn't I give you one of those, Bones?
I think maybe.
I don't
know.
Yeah.
The problem with
Check
now,
the batteries in the flashlight.
by the way, this quarter hours.
Sports. That is
sports and information. If Joel's wife Sue, and a beautiful woman, lovely, loyal,
has a bite to her. Yes,
got a little edge there, but everybody knew that if she would have married Billy Baru, She would have been Subaru.
Muscatel
Subaru. The problem I have with my vehicle now is that the trunk doesn't open, and that's where I have most of my good stuff.
the trunk doesn't open?
Yeah.
And so, John Boltman's sick. So
the other reason is, remember the garage thing when there's someone parked their van in my garage?
Oh, yeah.
I was there. Joel, you and I went on like a clandestine Serge, you were packing heat. I brought like a crossbow. We didn't know what we were going to encounter.
Is it still there?
No, it's gone. It's all good. And I turned, the whole story. It was great. And I know the fella, and it's like, oh, okay. Now the problem, garage won't open. Can't get in, period. Van's out, but to shut the garage, and I have no key that nothing works. My remote, my outside remote, I've tried switches. It's locked under. So I parked out in front of my garage last night, and it was just colder than a three-winged pheasant.
Yeah.
That you shot, right? So it's laying in the back of the pickup just hard now.
Yeah, so that's so I've got it again. I live a Seinfeldian type existence. I know that. I get that. But the roads weren't bad last night coming back from GF.
No, I talked to some guys that the snow wasn't the issue, and Tom told us that it wasn't.
And I want to ask you this, Joel, because you drive a lot, and I drive a lot, but you drive a lot.
He stayed in Fargo last night, though.
I know he did, but my father. I love everything he passed on as far as driving because he drove a lot. And I test, and Doug said, you didn't brake on the interstate, did you? And I think he was being facetious. But I tapped the brake a little bit just to see if there is a little.
Yeah.
Right? You do that.
You got to do that. Yep.
I always check a ditch because you don't know if you need to take it.
Right.
And sometimes.
Absolutely.
I always tell my daughters, sometimes you have to take a ditch, right?
Yep.
And then I always look at the oncoming traffic in the other lane if you're on a divided, and see kind of how fast they're going because where they're coming from, you're going. And you can kind of gauge their speed, right?
Right.
That's all simple. That's why, so I find myself in
another factor when you're driving because you've got to get to the arena somehow.
Yeah, that's right.
That if you're a good winter driver, you've trained yourself, your parents taught you that coming up to any intersection, you put it neutral.
And that's a key. And here's the other thing, is that if you feel a little slip and a tug, I know you turn in, but the foot off the gas does as much for anything, Joel, to prepare you for that, right?
Right.
So I'm a very good foot off the gas. Problem is when you're around semis and stuff like that, you got to give them an idea because they're carrying a big load. And when the wind was last night, the wind was the issue. Tom's right on the money. Szymanski, by the way, has been on fire. He's like first team all-state meteorologist.
He's going to be coming in and walking us through everything that happened. Yeah, but he came in and he just nailed it yesterday.
He's been on it. Speaking of that game last night in
wait, one more driving story.
Yes.
Ready? So last night, the whole crew here got in my motorhome and we delivered, how many turkeys they have? 8 turkeys around?
8, yeah.
8, we went to homes that were very well lit. We gave it. Let me just tell you this, Bones, about driving in winter conditions.
Yes.
It was so icy that, we walked like holding hands almost. It was that
like
icy.
little penguins walking along. Like,
exactly.
I just get
don't
this
pick
vision.
up your feet.
So drive a 38-foot motorhome in that.
I just get this vision of Eddie. Cousin Eddie going, there's an RV, Clark. Don't be getting too attached to it.
You wanted to say a different line, but yeah.
There's an RV, Clark. Don't get it. We'll be taking that with us when we leave here next month. He just spits out his eggnog.
The missus needs some alone time.
Great love. Late day. The kids can shack up with you. Basketball last night.
Manson from deep three. Holy cow. 26-footer and Manson buries her second three. I think she's heating up.
That kid can shoot. Don't get into a game of horse with Maggie Manson, Joel.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
UND got a little scare. Mayville State, good club. Coach Hutter's got a good club. Danica Vagley, an NDSU transfer, now plays for Mayville State. Get a load of this line, Joel. Vagley has 21 points, 22 rebounds.
Holy cow.
8 block shots.
Ooh.
Yikes.
Where is she from?
She's from Winona, went to North Dakota State, and transferred to Mayville State.
Wowza.
And there was a battle last night, but UND wins it. Casey Borovich, another fantastic player, had 17 points for North Dakota. Now the next up, the ladies head to Detroit, and I may have to use your Jeep because I got to be at an airport in Grand Forks by 3:45 tomorrow morning.
Yeah, well, it's there if you need it. I can tell you this. I'm not going to go home in the motorhome.
No, I would suggest that probably not.
I'm going to be Cousin Eddie.
You will be Cousin Eddie. Hey, news last night, Urban Meyer's out in Jacksonville, Joel. You see this?
Yeah. No, I didn't.
He just won 2 of his first 13 games. This was a train wreck from the start.
Yeah, this was the bar. This
was bad.
Grinding thing. Yep.
This was bad. His only season with the Jaguars, they went 2-11. There's so many things. He hired a strength and conditioning coordinator who was accused of making racist remarks. You remember there was a video that leaked out a while back, Meyer with a woman that wasn't his wife at a bar, tensions between Meyer and his staff, at one time saying, I'm a winner, you're a loser. There's a whole bunch. Then the latest embarrassment was a report yesterday in the Tampa Bay Times in which former kicker Josh Lambo alleged that Meyer kicked him in the leg while he was stretching in warm-ups. I mean, it's just been one thing after another, and Shad Khan said, that's it.
He canned him?
Yeah, fired.
Well, and here's when Urban Meyer lost me. Ready? When he threw his staff under the bus.
Yeah.
I mean, all the other stuff, okay. Poor judgments, personal life, all those decisions, I get that. But when you're working with people and it's not going well,
you can't do that.
And you're the head of it, and you're blaming them, then I know what kind of person you really are about work.
Even if the split is like 95-5, you still got to get all of it as a leader, yes, of that. Vikings signed free agent wide receivers Damian Radley and a kid named Darius Shepard.
Is that Ellen Shepard's
practice
grandkid?
squad? That is former Bison standout Darius Shepard.
Oh, okay.
That's playing to the practice squad because every day you wake up in the NFL, someone else got popped and hit a positive. So week 15, good luck in predicting NFL games because some teams list off those that have been vaccinated. Of course, they got to show negatives back to back, and then they can play. So this whole week, and it begins tonight. The NFL, and there's 2 games on Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday. So you've got Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday of the NFL this week.
So we're going to do pickups today.
I think we are.
Today. We've got an old sugar beet farmer that I think is going to be our guest picker today.
Oh, you know what I say about that?
This is the happiest day of my life.
Billy Laughlin, the late, terrible. I said the poor young man. That's from Little Rascals. He passed at the age of 16 in a tragic accident. But I think this kid was so talented. That young kid. You remember him from Little Rascals?
I remember Little Rascals.
He was so talented. That's an impersonation. He got the job when they found him impersonating Popeye.
Really?
Yeah, so that's not his actual voice, obviously. Yeah, that was impersonation, so good. And the Wolves won last night, 124-107. Bison football tomorrow night against James Madison.
Dan Michaels handed me some information here about the bye. I don't know if it's fake, if it's tongue-in-cheek, or if somebody actually believes this. But
the dude that was trying to pick a fight?
Yeah.
I didn't see it. Dan read it this morning.
We're getting played here a little bit because what he wrote, he deserves a punch in the nose if he believes it.
He's trying to make noise.
He's trying to be on the bill. If I were from NDSU, I would have wrote this letter and pretended they wrote it just because it belongs on a billboard and will fire the boys up.
I wouldn't have written anything because it always comes back to
bite you in the keister.
That's exactly right.
Come on in here, Jack. We got some throat lozenges for you.
Subaru.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know, to me it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years, and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. Just good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of
I don't want to say anything that's braggadocious. You know me. I'd never do that.
No. What you got?
But Abigail and I put together our Christmas program. And it was nice because she helped out a little bit this year. We worked hard on it, right? Yeah.
I'm not even going to argue.
Did we negotiate how much work you put in versus me on this?
Yeah, I said 99.9, and you said I deserve 94, and then I said 96.
And we settled on 96.
We settled on 96.
When in fact I was willing to settle on 98.9.
She put in?
Yeah. I just wasn't going to go with 99.9.
Well, here's the deal. You know how to delegate.
Right.
And she's such a good worker. And
I don't?
Clearly.
And you do delegate.
Clearly I know how to negotiate because she put in way more than I did. 99.9 probably would have been accurate. But it's good, isn't it?
It's best ever. Yep. No one can
Taxation
beat it.
Without representation.
I've heard
this
about
date,
this.
17, what was it, 73?
1773. Yeah. Nearly 350 chests of tea were dumped into the Boston Harbor for British shipment.
You remember?
Yeah.
I was there. I remember.
That chamomile tea?
Started a fight. Remember that?
A little bit of a fight.
Started a little bit of a fight.
Do you think that the fish were happy?
They were probably like, what's going on with, because they were crates, correct?
Yeah.
Crates of tea.
Yeah, but they threw them into the harbor, which if you think about it, that was one of the most valuable commodities.
Yeah,
then period.
Throwing liquid gold.
Right. It's tea. It's what you need.
That's how you pick a fight internally.
Yeah, I agree. Just punch them right now. Should we pick some NFL games when we get back?
Oh, we got to stick them and pick them.
Let's do it after this.
Yay.
The news is brought to you by Luther Family Buick GMC. It's time to step up to professional grade online at lutherfamilybuickgmc.com.
At 8:30, we have mostly cloudy skies. It's still windy out there. We're at 8 above. I'm Don Haney, News Radio KFGO. A Dilworth man has been sentenced to more than 8 years in federal prison for his role in a string of violent gang robberies. The U.S. Attorney's Office says 21-year-old Josiah Aguilar was a member of the Slither Gang, which from January through May 2019 targeted robbery victims who were drug traffickers in North Dakota, Minnesota, and elsewhere. Authorities say Aguilar and other gang members carried out the robberies by threats of violence, infliction of violence, and brandishing of arms and other dangerous weapons. Aguilar and the co-conspirators often resorted to home invasions or setting up victims to meet at a public place, then robbing them of drugs, money, firearms, and personal property, and later selling the drugs they stole. Several of Aguilar's co-conspirators have been indicted in North Dakota. 5 have been sentenced. 1 is awaiting trial. Minnesota's wild Wednesday weather has settled down finally. The National Weather Service issued severe thunderstorm warnings last night, tornado watches and warnings as record-setting warmth, high winds, rain, and even some snow passed through parts of Minnesota. Crews are going to be out today to survey damage reports and to determine if as many as 3 tornadoes were part of the weather pattern. Several dozen homes were damaged. Power was knocked out in Heartland, Minnesota. A second tornado was reported in Iota and a third in Plainview. If confirmed, they'd be the first ever tornadoes in Minnesota to occur in December. KFGO News Time, 8:32. It's mostly cloudy, 8 degrees.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So As people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. Right. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people.
This is KFGO News. Governor Doug Burgum and North Dakota National Guard Adjutant General L. Dorman met with some 125 soldiers from the Bismarck-based 957th Engineering Company serving along the U.S.-Mexico border in Texas. They're expected to be on duty for 1 year assisting U.S. Customs and Border Protection. The governor's office says in the 2 months the 957th has been at the border. Troops have helped the Border Patrol apprehend some 30,000 migrants. For the first year ending September 30th, Border Patrol officials recorded 260,000 encounters with migrants attempting to cross the border illegally, compared with 40,000 the previous year in the 957th operating sector. Governors among 26 Republican governors who sent President Biden a letter in September requesting a meeting with him to discuss border policy. That request has not been granted. Prosecutors are expected to wrap up their case today against a Minnesota police officer charged in Daunte Wright's death. That's going to set the stage for a defense that at some point will have Kim Potter directly addressing the jury. Potter has said she meant to use her taser when she shot Wright April 11th as he tried to get away from officers at a traffic stop. But her attorneys have also argued that she was within her rights to use deadly force because a fellow officer was endangered. A use of force expert, however, testified for the prosecution yesterday that he didn't believe Potter was justified to use that deadly force. Time to check in with Chief Meteorologist Tom Szymanski. The Weather Center forecast is powered by Acme Tools. Stand up to the threat of power outages with a new Generac home or portable generator that comes from Acme Tools. Do your best work. A little bit of relief, hopefully here. Maybe the winds will start to drop a little bit later today. I saw your forecast, but it's been pretty windy out there, and that has been causing some problems out there this morning.
Yeah, especially out in the rural areas, some blowing and drifting snow, that's an issue. And for some of the higher profile vehicles, it has been sort of an issue as well. But yeah, it'll be a gradual process, but I do expect that wind to gradually abate as the day wears on. The weather, by the way, brought to you by Hero. They're celebrating 25 years of collecting healthcare equipment and supplies for those in the community and around the world by partnering with medical mission groups. Find out more at herofargo.org. So, yeah, those clouds will continue to break up from west to east, and the snow that's still lingering in some parts of Lakes Country will push eastward and end. Still some blowing.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek Hansen, Couch Potato Radio.
JJ Gordon from It Takes Two.
Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning. Paul Jerkins News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voice of Sports.
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your home.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense of.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We did this. Can I just say we started this, and it turned into a whole lot of fun. So I'm not worried about it, but we did this.
My favorite part is the ending.
I know.
Does Lola have one today?
Oh, yeah.
Does Lola, did she send something today?
Oh, yeah. We got Lola.
Lola, if you're listening, why aren't you in school? But Lola, if you're listening, I don't know if she'll ever top the knock knock, who's there, spell who, WHO, but I don't know.
That was so good.
I've used that 13 times since I've heard that.
Well, I think she's got more. And believe me, if there's one that isn't in school and just said, I'm sick, and then is now playing
hooky.
Oh, wait, I was about to say Atari.
Oh, I love Atari.
Atari. Abby, you don't even know what Atari is.
What was your favorite Atari game?
Familiar.
Oh,
remember Atari? Basketball was like,
Rusty, what was...
you had Pac-Man, Mrs. Pac-Man, you had Pong, you had Asteroids, Space Invaders.
Galaga.
Yeah.
And does anybody still have an Atari out there, you think?
Yeah, there's
got to be some.
My son-in-law, he kept one, and it's worth a lot of money.
Really?
It's perfect condition.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I played Pong so long that it burned the screen. Do you remember that?
Yep,
When you used to leave it?
Mine was Pong. Mine was Pong.
Yeah.
Don Haney, by the way, that voice is our guest speaker.
I dragged in here, Don Haney. I'm glad to be with you.
Should have
but
seen the look on his face when I said,
haven't
get
done
in
any
here.
research, so but
Trust me.
It
doesn't
the dart.
Club.
Who won last week, yeah?
Don't.
Did you?
Wow. Joel did. It was close.
Just breaks her heart when she has to admit I won. All right, let's get to
You
it.
only ask me on weeks when you do win.
Well, that's true. That's not true. I only ask you on weeks where I think I've got a really good chance of winning.
Yeah.
That's probably the best.
By the way, I would love to give my bladder a trophy. I've had so much liquid in me this morning. Tea and water and tea and water and coffee and water. My bladder's like first team All-State.
Talk about what kind of tea did you have? You were a little worried.
Abby's got a little chamomile tea for me.
I do. And honey. You
Yes.
should have honey when you're sick, when you have a sore throat.
Yeah. Mine just got a little
Don't
gargle.
say sick because
Yeah,
I'm sitting next to him.
sore
I
throat.
feel like $1 million.
Why are you
Don't worry
hugging
about
him
it.
now?
I know.
He's not that sick. He's just wearing out.
Well,
on you.
Your
that's what
voice
I
has been
told her.
used a little bit.
You realize
a little
that
bit,
you're
yeah.
supposed to put oil in the car every now and then. Now it's just called tea and honey, but that's your oil.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. I drink tea and water like in South of Georgia. Every 30,000 miles you change oil, right? 30. Every
40.
year.
So, true story. My wife's car in college wasn't doing very well,
Yeah.
and I was just kind of getting to know her. My friend Todd said, "Well, have you checked the oil?" And she's like, "What?" He checked the oil. There's no oil in it.
dust.
It didn't show up on the dipstick.
Oh.
Yeah, amazingly, that car blew up a little bit later. But all right, let's get to work. Rusty, the first pick comes to you. Kansas City at the Chargers.
Well, this could be the game of the week featuring two of the best in the AFC. I am going to go with Kansas City on the road.
Don?
Based on what I know, and I had a little help from my buddy here.
Don's been doing research.
Yeah,
He's a news guy.
I haven't had time to do it, but
cheating.
I would follow. I would follow and say, I give Kansas City the nod here. I guess coming up.
I like the fact that two good quarterbacks. Yeah. Kansas City sometimes not sure if they've hit traction and are really Kansas City or if they take a step back. It's a road game. Give me Patrick Mahomes.
That's road game is what's going to push me towards the Chargers.
Wow.
Whenever I'm in a doubt, I always go home team.
Well,
so.
I'm a big Dan Fouts fan too.
Yeah, Dan Fouts.
Kellen Winslow.
Yeah, that might be
Charlie Joyner.
Might be a while ago. All right, Don Haney. I'm struggling so hard not to call you by the nickname we call each other,
Donnie.
which is good. Don and I have certain
careful.
nicknames for each other.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Las Vegas at Cleveland. Don.
Well, Jack did a little research for me here,
Would you
just
quit
a little bit.
cheating over there?
Well, I haven't looked at this stuff here recently. Basically, all I pay attention to usually is the Vikings and seeing where they're going, which is usually downhill. But
right.
I better run because I've just insulted Joel. But I'd go with the Browns.
Browns?
Yeah.
What Don is alluding to, Cleveland may have 11 players to play this weekend.
Yeah.
Like their roster is just COVID fandango right now of positive, so including Baker Mayfield and their coach Stefanski.
Mm-hmm.
But
he
that's,
even got it too.
Yeah. That said, Cleveland finds a way.
Well, Las Vegas is kind of showing their weaknesses too. Is that fair to say?
They were a story for a while.
I'm going Browns. Rusty?
No, I'll go with Vegas on that one. Yep.
All right.
Yes, he's taken back.
New England at the Colts. That goes directly to Jack Michaels.
A heck of a football game.
That one, I think, is the game.
I'm pulling for the Colts in this one. I think Carson's got those guys playing pretty well. They can run the football. Give me Indianapolis at home, then let's all go out to Steak and Shake.
And I'm going to take the Patriots. Rusty?
Okay. Well, I think both teams coming off a bye, but I'm going to go with the Colts on this one.
All right. I'm the minority here. Don?
Indianapolis, without a doubt.
All right. Let's go Carolina at Buffalo. That's to me, and it is time for Buffalo to step up. I'm taking Buffalo.
Yep, I agree, Joel. I will go with Buffalo on that one, too.
We got an injury.
He's pointing on his sheet.
Don's got his research again.
Josh Allen, uncertain. That's not unusual. I guess he's, he's hurt his ankle, so toss the bucket and see if he's going to be out there. So I'd go with Buffalo.
Yeah, right. I will too. And Don's right. Josh Allen's got the ankle injury, but Carolina just, they've had a lot of injuries.
Jets at Miami. Rusty.
I tell you what, the Jets defense has just been bad, but the Dolphins coming off a bye, I think they've got some COVID issues too. I'm going to go for the Jets in this one.
Ooh, that one surprised me. Don?
Yeah.
Never paid attention to Miami, so I guess what I'm doing, the Jets.
Boy, I'd rather, this game, I'd rather shower with sandpaper.
this is the ugly game of the week. Fair
Jets
to say?
Sure.
Jets at Miami. Give me Miami.
Okay, we got the Washington Football Club versus the Eagles. Don?
I guess I'd go with the Eagles. I don't have any particular reason why. I just do the eeny, meeny, moe today.
Classic NFC.
Until I am really into this.
You're a classic NFC East battle right here. And give me the home team. Give me Philly.
I'm going to take the Washington Football Club. All right, let's see.
I went with Philadelphia because you like them so much.
Yeah. Rusty, who do you got?
I'll go with Philadelphia. It sounds like
Jalen could take Philadelphia.
Jalen Hurts might be back in the lineup. So, I'll go Philly on that
Just
one.
think if his daughter married Tim Donut, it'd be a Hurts donut. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm hoping leprosy goes to the city of Philadelphia. All right.
Hurts donut?
Yes.
Jack Michaels, Arizona at Detroit, the easiest pick of the week. Go ahead.
I would be slapped in the wrist if I didn't take Arizona in this one. That's the obvious play.
I'm taking Arizona.
Yeah, even with a short week, I'm going Arizona.
That sounds good. We'll be all in one here, I guess.
All right, we're going to take a little break. When we come back, we're going to get a chance to finish this out. And then something tells me Lola did get, stick around.
She's with us today?
She's with Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know. To me, it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years. And I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while.
First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
Here with another News Radio. Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Dear
Mighty
Kansas
790.
Couch Potato Radio. Did you see
from
that?
It Takes Two.
Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning. Jerkins News Radio.
Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Force.
Two tall tops,
Joel
man.
Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your home.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play out.
All right, let's get back to Pick 'em or Stick 'em. We've got Don Haney as our guest picker. Of course, Rusty Halverson always hangs with us, as does Jack Michaels. Dallas at the Giants. There's certain teams that, there's separation.
Yep.
Dallas is one of them. Dallas gets better as the year goes on.
Yep.
I'm taking Dallas, Rusty.
Yeah. Giants are a mess. I'm going with Dallas, too.
Follow up.
Yeah, Daniel Jones.
Copycat here.
Daniel Jones probably out for the Giants. Give me Dallas.
Tennessee at Pittsburgh, another one of the crapola games. That goes to Rusty first.
I think I'm just taking Pittsburgh, home team, motivation. That's about it.
Never fails to help some of them, and I would go with Pittsburgh, too.
What are the three rivers? The Allegheny, the Monaga,
and the crapola.
What is it, the Ohio?
Didn't one of those rivers light on fire one time?
It's tough to light a river on fire.
That was in Cleveland.
Only briefly, though.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, 3 days. For 3 days, the river
on fire.
burned. Yeah, on fire.
Give
I
me
think it was in
Pittsburgh.
Cleveland. All right, Pittsburgh. So
Ohio.
Don, Don remembers everything. He's so good.
Oh,
at it.
yeah, right.
Houston at Jacksonville. Don.
Man, I tell you what, I'm completely blanking that. I'll do a eeny, meeny, miny, moe. I would say, I guess I'd go with Jacksonville.
Just fired Urban Meyer. It's a train wreck.
Yeah.
Give me Jacksonville.
Yeah, and that's the reason I'm taking Houston, is because it is a train wreck. Rusty?
Who doesn't love a good train wreck? I'll go Jacksonville.
All right, Jack, Atlanta at San Francisco.
Give me the team by the Bay. I think San Fran's playing well. Jimmy G is getting it moving. Give me San Fran.
I'm totally with you there. 49ers?
Yep, same 49ers back at home. You bet.
49ers, yeah.
All right, Cincinnati at Denver. This is going to be a fun game.
Yeah.
This one is. I'm taking Denver just because the oxygen is getting a little light up there, and the Bengals need all they can get. So I'll take Denver.
I'm going winter forecast, Denver, too.
I got relatives that live in Colorado and big Denver fans, and I follow them a little bit, so I'd go Denver.
Am I the only one taking Cincinnati in this one? Bengals live in the Himalayas.
Never.
I don't know.
What?
Do they?
How does
Abby,
your mind
do they?
work?
I don't know if I can back that
It's not
up.
110. It's not 220. He's just wired differently, folks.
Yeah.
That's all I'm telling you. Okay, Rusty, Green Bay at the Ravens.
Well, I tell you what, talking about the toe, I'm going to go Baltimore.
Oh, Rodgers' toe.
Yeah.
They should just cut it off.
we got a lot of well, if it isn't a toe, it's an ankle.
Yeah.
And I know that Jack was showing me a little bit about Lamar Jackson. He's got some issues there, so it seems like half of them are crippled by this time of the season.
Right.
So, yeah.
So you go Green Bay?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I'm taking Green Bay too.
I'm taking Baltimore.
Ooh.
I had my mind made up on that one early. It mostly out of hope.
Yeah.
Okay, Don, Seattle at the Rams.
Yeah, boy, I tell you what, I guess I would do with no.
Does this scare you, Don?
Yeah. Well,
The Rams
that's right. We were talking about before you went on. I would say they've got some issues there with probably not doing things right there. Maybe wearing masks instead of not doing that. So I would probably go with Seattle.
I don't think it matters if you're mummified at this point. You're not stopping that little virus to get in. Everybody's getting in.
Well, yeah, it's true, but
16 players.
I know.
For the Rams on the list. That said, give me the Rams. Seattle's not.
That win for the Rams last week against Arizona was huge. It was a defining moment for the Rams this year. I'm going to take the Rams just because they're walking around with confidence right now.
Okay. I'm going to go with Seattle. Second straight road game. They beat the Texans last week. Why not?
Texans aren't nothing.
Well, of course.
I'm just saying. Jack, New Orleans at Tampa Bay.
Have you ever eaten at Dick's Diner in Seattle? Cash only?
No.
It's a great place for shakes. Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. What do you got?
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
Easiest one to pick all week, right? We're taking Tampa Bay. Yeah. All right, Don, you're the guest picker, so you got to pick the Vikings game, Minnesota at Chicago.
I would go with the Vikings. If I don't, I'll be in trouble.
Deb will be mad at you, yes.
Yeah.
Jack?
Kirk Cousins' Monday Night Football record is not good.
Yep.
Minnesota.
Yeah, and that's the very reason I'm taking Chicago. So hopefully the bleeding will end. No, I'm taking Chicago.
You should record this.
Yeah.
We do, I think.
This is a guy that's got a tattoo of the Vikings on his teeth. So.
Kirk Cousins, he has struggled on Monday nights. I think he's going to put that behind him this year. For some reason, I'm going Minnesota.
I hope Rusty's
You're the
right.
only one.
I know.
Where's that tattoo? On which cheek?
It's on a tooth.
It's on a tooth, right. I said, yeah.
It was the lady that makes crowns called me, and she goes, I do personalized crowns now, and I listen to you on the radio.
Yeah.
And so she said, do you want a Harley Davidson one or a Vikings one? I said, you pick, right?
Wow.
She sent it. It's a Vikings one.
I thought maybe you had like Mick Tinglehoff throughout your back, a big tingle.
The different teeth cleaning ladies,
yes.
That there's a new one I have now that just a sweetheart of a lady. So she comes in there and she starts doing cleaning your teeth. Wow.
Yeah, she's impressed.
It's a Viking tattoo.
This isn't coming off.
All right, we better check with Lola. Let's see what Lola has to say this week.
Why did the student eat his homework?
I don't know. Why did the student eat his homework?
Well, because the teacher told him that it was a piece of cake. But,
Okay. Okay.
That was a good one.
That was good.
Get that.
She's Lola. There's no other way to put it. She's Lola. Don, thank you so much for coming in.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks.
Here's the scary part.
Yeah.
You watch. You'll win this thing.
Of course you will.
Probably, well, I doubt it, but we'll never know.
The upside with Don is he's not a bragger. After he wins, really, he's not, folks.
He's so humble.
He's that kind of guy.
Humble.
By the way, I don't know if I mentioned I won last week.
Did you win?
Yeah, I'm not like Don. I brag. All right. So where do you go now?
For me personally, Detroit.
I can't live your life.
Detroit Mercy.
Man.
I mean, I like to travel, but
Detroit Mercy, and judging by my schedule this week, Mercy. I'm going to amplify on that word.
Mercy.
Yes,
so do you just buy underwear, or do you actually wash
I lay it out on my bed. I buy. I've got
how many
new rolled underwear.
pairs of underwear you have?
Oh, like 48.
I've figured that.
Easily.
All right. It's travel safe, buddy.
Easily. I share with you if you want.
When we come back, we're going to head to Tate Simblick right after this.
Tater.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. We're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
Thank you. If the KFGO table could be a little quiet over here. Sorry. We're talk show hosts. Grateful for this turnout. Good Lord, you guys showed up. Thank you. Give yourself a round. Thursday night at Bar 9, and I want to thank Bar 9 for allowing us to come here, give a trigger away. Tip your waiters and waitresses, please. There are busting tail here. Standing room only, so thank you, thank you, thank you. So what's about to happen right now?
Good morning, 9 o'clock, mostly cloudy, still breezy out there, and we're now at 7 degrees. I'm Don Haney, News Radio KFGO. Minnesota's wild day yesterday, a wild Wednesday you could call it, has settled down finally. We're talking about the weather. The National Weather Service in the Twin Cities issued severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado watches as record-setting warmth, high winds, rain, and even some snow passed through parts of Minnesota. Crews are expected to be traveling today to survey damage reports, determine if as many as 3 tornadoes were part of the weather system in part of southeastern Minnesota. Several dozen homes were damaged, and power was knocked out in Heartland, Minnesota. Second tornado reported in Iota, and a third in Plainview. If confirmed, they would be the very first ever tornadoes in Minnesota to occur in December. Minnesota's passed an ugly COVID-19 milestone, 10,000 deaths attributed to the virus thus far. The Minnesota Department of Health reported another 54 COVID-19 deaths yesterday. That pushed the statewide total to 10,018. The latest pandemic wave is illustrated by the fact it took nearly 27 weeks to go from 7,000 to 8,000 deaths. Then it took just over 8 weeks to reach 9,000 and only 39 days to reach 10,000. Public health managers say they're hopeful an increase in new vaccinations and booster shots has slowed the wave. An Air Force Reserve officer has announced her intention to seek the North Dakota State Senate seat held by Republican Nicole Pullman, who doesn't plan to seek re-election next year. Michelle Axtman is running as a Republican for the Bismarck area District 7 seat held by Pullman since 2012. Axtman is a Bismarck native and District 7 Republican treasurer. She's a 2009 graduate of the Air Force Academy and spent 12 years as a pilot. She serves as a major in the Air Force Reserve. What was said to be the temporary closing of a popular restaurant in Fargo, Famous Dave's in Fargo, appears to be permanent now. A commercial real estate listing says buildings for lease. Late last month, a sign was posted on the doors of the restaurant that said the owners decided to close, and there was no reopening date. The restaurant on 45th Street south of I-94 had reduced its hours prior to the closing. Property Resources Group of Fargo has the listing. Checking out the KFGO Weather Center forecast after interesting day yesterday, lots of fog. We'll see decreasing clouds, windy conditions continuing, still with some blowing snow today. That is creating some icy conditions out there with northwest winds 21 to 41 and gusty this morning, decreasing this afternoon. We'll see a high today, if you want to call it that, 11 above tonight, a low -2.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
Roberson here with another News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek Hansen, Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that
from It Takes Two?
Doug here with the morning crew this morning.
News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michael, Voices Force.
Joel
Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Access, your home.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
So today on the MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense of
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know, to me it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years, and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while.
Later, is that broad enough?
Yeah,
stroke?
I thought so.
You really don't know. Now, we're coming up upon the holiday season next week, right?
Yeah.
And so you and I aren't going to be together as much as what we normally would be because I either have to take vacation or lose vacation.
Yes.
So I don't want.
You're taking forced vacation.
I know. I'm just not used
You
to
tried earlier this month.
Yeah, and it just didn't happen. Hey, maybe there's going to be ice on the lake, right? Maybe it'll be thick enough where I'll be able to. I had a buddy from out in my hunting area that was looking to buy my fish house. You know, some call it ice shack, some call it fish house. In fact, let's settle this, okay? Whatever Tate says, Tate Simblick is on the board. That's right. He's one of the people that run the city of Williston. And, he's somebody you make friends in this work. And I've made a good friend in Tate because I can count on him as a barometer. We may not agree on everything. That's the cool part, but he's fun to talk to. And I have somebody that wants to say hi to him that I don't think is going to surprise him. Commissioner, good to have you on News and Views. Thanks, Tate.
Well, thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Somebody wants to say hi to you.
All is well. Oh, it's got to be Jack.
Let me tell you. Let me say. Here's Tate Simblick. And I had the pleasure when I needed someone to produce a big hit, to be a good teammate, to be a superstar, and to be the bond that keeps a team together.
You would ask Tate who you should use.
I asked Tate, and then he would point to a lot of the Finders kids. And no, I'm just kidding. It would be Tate Simblick, and it's no shock that Tate grows up. I coached him in Little League. It grows up to be this fair city runner, counselor. It doesn't. Hi, Tate. How you doing, bud?
I'm good. How are you, Todd? I know they call you Jack Michaels on the radio, but you're still Todd.
It's my three names that I have.
Yeah, exactly. Tate, when he heard you were coming on, he was just like a little kid right prior to Christmas.
I've got to hear Tate Simblick. Yes.
So you got some friends here.
Well, good talking to y'all.
So here's the reason that we hooked up to visit today on the radio. Tell people where you were and tell people what you saw when you came back.
Oh, okay, sure. So last week my daughter graduated from Florida State down in Tallahassee, so I drove down there the 6th and the 7th. And on the 7th, I came through the area in which the tornadoes were at. Well, obviously things looked fine. It was like a normal community, several communities. And then on the way back home, I realized I was heading northbound on I-24, if I recall. And I'm like, wow, look at all the debris. Look at all the garbage. Look at the guardrails, for that matter, ripped out from the center of the roads, or the dividers in the roads, mangled up in trees. I thought, what in the holy heck is this? Well, as I continued on, you'd look over and you'd see a subdivision completely wiped out, houses gone. One subdivision that I saw had a house, all the houses were gone. 4 walls were up on the one. The second level obviously was gone. And on another home, 1 wall was up, but the other homes were completely leveled. The trees, as an example, were just the tree trunk. Metal was mangled. It literally looked like a bomb went off, you guys. It was so scary. It was unimaginable. And of course, you wanted to stop, and you'd like to go out and help. You can't. You'd like to stop on the interstate and take a picture, but you don't dare. It was incredibly scary. It's the stuff we saw on TV the day before, and here a day later, we're driving past some of these stuff. And I can't remember the towns, if it was near Clarksville, Tennessee, Pleasant View. I don't remember the towns specifically, but I could drive you there, and it was amazing. It was scary. My heart just sunk for those people. A week ago, they had their homes, and things were fine. And not even a week later, they've lost everything. And I believe there's 80 to 90 people that have passed that were killed from this tornado. It was very scary. And do you think?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry, Joe.
Well, I'm sitting there thinking of the weather going into the holidays, and I'm worried that the icy roads won't let me see everybody I want to see. Now, how minor is that compared to what you just saw and described?
It is. It puts it all in perspective. I know we get upset up here because the roads might be icy, black ice, or blowing snow, and we may have to wait a few hours for the weather to pass through. It puts it all in perspective. So we can wait a few hours. These people lost everything they've ever worked for. They've lost their home, their vehicles, they've lost lives, they lost loved ones. It puts a lot in perspective that all these things we have are just material and it's not a big deal. We can wait. These people have lost everything. You saw the National Guard and their convoys going down the highways to help these people. You saw helicopters in the air propelling things down. You saw a whole lot of mobile commands going down the highway, going into these communities. And you think, holy moly, and I'm worried about trying to get home Tuesday for city commission? Really?
Yeah.
Is that really a big deal in the big picture? I mean, it did. It was humbling. It was very surreal. It was scary. It really was. My heart just sunk to those people.
I kept thinking about a word leading up to all of this, and that was scary. How many times, Jack, did he just say the word scary?
It is, and Tate is not one to mince words and telling it. And what sticks out with me on Tate's story coming back, and congratulations, by the way, your daughter graduating Florida State. Tate, bright young lady, is
Thank
that
you.
have you ever been in the area or the vicinity of somebody who literally, as Tate said, have lost everything?
Yeah.
If you looked in the eyes of someone who have lost literally everything, who don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, don't know where they're going to sleep tonight, planning funerals because you've lost. Just imagine what he saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point too, Todd. To put it in it's tough to even put it in perspective because they lost everything. Everything. These subdivisions that I drove through on the interstate are totally wiped out. It's mangled metal and debris that you can't even comprehend it.
How
Yes, we
wide?
have all seen
How
it
wide was it, Tate?
That area, it was weird because I would say it probably went for maybe a half a mile, and then all of a sudden you would be totally fine. And then you'd see some more debris, a lot of wind damage. But the area that I saw that was completely totaled out in these subdivisions was like, I honestly, I don't remember the town. It was somewhere near Clarksville, if I recall. It was wide, but I would say a couple 100 yards wide, and then it just went to like nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
It was that just like, I think what they said, I think it was like 248 miles on the ground. I mean, it literally wiped out communities. So, I didn't go into like the one community, I think was at Bowling Green or Maryville or something of that sort. Obviously, that's well off the interstate, so I didn't see those. But just those little towns along the interstate. I can't imagine. They lost everything, and we're worried about, like you said, Todd, what we're going to do tomorrow. Hell, these guys, they don't know what they're going to do in 2 minutes.
From two guys, Tate, from a guy and Joel, we experienced 97 flood. We experienced some floods in this area. Towns have had that. FEMA, government help, where do you start rebuilding? Tate, you're on a council that overlooks a city trying to beautify. Joel, where does the government's role now to help? Where do you start? Where do you go?
See, and for me, I'll take a crack at it first, Tate, because you're still in elected office, and this could be in your lap any given day. But this is one of those things in reasons that I believe that government is us. It's all of us. And so if you take a look at us economically, we can't all open up our checkbook and write a big check. If you look at us physically, we can't get in a car and go, like Tate just said, he'd like to stop and help, but he knows he shouldn't. There's things that we collectively can do, and that's through our government. And it doesn't matter, Tate, whether you're an R, a D, an I, any of those things at times like this.
Doesn't matter.
That's right. At times like this, buddy, roll up your sleeves. We saw it at 9/11. There's only us. And this what you saw down there, Tate, was us when you saw all that military presence.
Absolutely. And, if that happened out here, I'm not going to mince words. I wouldn't know where in the hell to start.
Yeah.
I really would not know what to do because it's so overwhelming. Your community just got wiped out. Where are you going to put these people that survived? How do you rebuild it? You don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
It is. I don't know. The government would absolutely need to step in, but I think, Joel, you nailed it on the head. It's everyone. Everyone would have to step up at every level. I don't care if they're Republican, Democrat, Independent. I do not care. That is not what this is about. This is life. This is life. This is reality.
This is why you pay taxes. This is one of the reasons.
This is why.
Tate, hang in there with us just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I got to go get to the weather cave, to a man that, quite frankly, I'm going to ask who's going to win the World Series or the Super Bowl this year, because he can predict things, Jack, right on. Yeah, he did this storm.
Tom's on fire.
Let's get to Tom Szymanski.
The Cubs and the Packers.
Now I don't trust you as much as I do when it comes to the weather. Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know. To me, it's just something I enjoy, and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years. And I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. We're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to.
Robertson here with another News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek Hansen, Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that from It Takes Two? Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces. Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your home.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
thank you. If the KFGO table could be a little quiet over here. Sorry. We're thanks. Grateful for this turnout. Good Lord, you guys showed up. Thank you. Give yourself a round of applause. Thursday night at Bar 9, I want to thank Bar 9 for allowing us to come here, give a trigger away. Tip your waiters and waitresses, please. They are busting tail here. Standing room only, so thank you, thank you, thank you. So what's about to happen right now, you've all come and registered. Eric Johnson is diligently spinning this golden drum. And I do mean very diligently. And in a moment, I'm going to read a name, and that name needs to be present to win. And if your name's called, I want you to yell very loudly and then come get your tray. All right, you ready? Do it. For those of you that can't see, well, my hand is now going into the golden drum. I have pulled one name.
He's Williston City Commissioner, but he went to see his daughter's graduation. Drove through it when it was beautiful, drove back through it when every tree was laying on the ground and everybody's home was taken away from them. Tate, as a city commissioner, I think Jack asked a great question in how do you deal with it? I mean, how do you, it isn't something that you can prepare for, which I don't care about how much you say. You can't get ready for something like that.
You can't. You can have all the preparedness you wish to have or think you have. You can't. You cannot plan for these types of scenarios. Maybe at some level you can have some things ready. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but you can't. It's so, one, it's overwhelming. It's tough to comprehend. It's unimaginable. Yes, we can sit in the back seat here and take a look and say, well, we could do this and this. It sounds good, but in all actuality, and when reality hits, it's a whole different thought process. And trying to deal with the magnitude, so you lose a house, but now we're talking lives. And to deal with that, these are small communities. They know everybody. That could be your neighbor. It's just, I don't know what we would do or how we would do it. We would get it done. I have no doubt we would figure it out. But that's because we'd all step in together as an entire community in the state and the region and get it done.
Yeah.
But it's a tough question to answer, Joel, because I don't think you can prepare for anything of this magnitude.
Yeah. Smaller scale, I saw it at Northwood, and I saw what that community went through back in 2008. Somebody texted in and said, where does the rubble go to get sorted and consolidated before you find a landfill to take it? And that's, you've got lives, you got families, you got housing, you've got power, you've got water, all the things that people like Tate have to deal with. This is an appropriate question because that's
Absolutely.
what you do after all of that. I mean, that's a really big question, Tate.
Because where do you put it? I mean, sure, we have a landfill, but you can only take so much. And you think of the time and the resources because you're going to have to separate all that stuff.
Yeah. I just look at it as though, lives will never be the same. Because you two grew up in Williston. Yep. You two grew up around a ball field. When you went to that ball field, there's certain things that you notice. And I will throw this one at you, knowing and loving your baseball park. I love the fact there isn't advertising on that fence. Okay, yep. Tate? I mean, I don't know. Every time I see it, it makes me smile that way. If that got wiped out, it would never be the same. Jack, it
wouldn't. But to Tate's point, and I'm sure Fargo-Moorhead, West Fargo, Deerworth, all these great communities, Valley City, Jamestown, you go across Highway 2, whether it be Grafton or Grand, everybody I'm sure would rally around that. But you're right, there's that in-between time where you think you'd be proactive, but how proactive can you be when things like this happen? You necessarily get into a reactive state, and then you'd probably try to rebuild. But Joel, what you just described, I mean, Tate and I were lucky. I had 4 ball fields in my backyard. I had a Legion baseball field within a couple hundred steps. If that got wiped out, I would rest that my local city and parks department, all that, would find a way to bring people in to try to rebuild. but the timing of which, it's interesting.
It's little things like an oak.
It's interesting with Tate, and this isn't maybe comparable, Joel, but when the oil that has come and gone in North Dakota, in that particular area of the state, you had these tent cities and these man camps that were going on. I'm just not. I wonder if we're going to start seeing some of that immediately bridge housing for some of these displaced people down there.
Right. But Tate, it's one thing to get ready for this influx of people because you can do that gradually. You can say, okay, we're going to build this man camp.
But we need it now.
In this case, we need it now, Tate.
That's right. This is not you can kind of wait and ride the system out. This is where you need it right now. These people need shed and shelter, and we need to provide some sort of service to them and to, do the best we can to help them and protect them. I don't know how you would deal with it because it's not like it was one or two houses. We're talking several houses, hundreds. It truthfully is something that I hope to God we never have to deal with it. And my heart breaks for those people at every level. Like I said, you work your whole life for all these things, and in the blink of an eye, it's gone.
Yeah.
And yes, you can always rebuild, and that sounds great, but lives can't be replaced. And, people lost lives. People lost loved ones, moms and dads and kids. It's truthfully, like I said, you see it on TV, that's one thing. But then to see some of it in reality with your own eyes, driving through it, I tell you what, it was scary and it was very humbling.
Yeah.
And
Tate,
I didn't need to rush to get back.
Tate, thank you so much for an eyewitness view. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, Joel. Thanks, Todd. You guys have a great Christmas.
You too, Tater.
You too. Great Christmas. He goes down for a beautiful moment with his daughter and sees some of the worst devastation. Yeah, exactly. When we come back, we'll give you some thoughts right after this.
Thank you. If the KFGO table could be a little quiet over here.
Sorry. We're talk show.
Grateful for this turnout. Good Lord, you guys showed up. Thank you. Give yourself a round. Thursday night at Bar 9, and I want to thank Bar 9 for allowing us to come here, give a trigger away. Tip your waiters and waitresses, please. There are busting tails here. Standing room only, so thank you. So what's about to happen right now, you've all come and registered. Eric Johnson is diligently spinning
west wind at about 21 miles an hour last check, and I almost hate to mention it, but the wind chill now minus 13. A Dilworth man's been sentenced to more than 8 years in federal prison for his role in a string of violent gang robberies. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Minneapolis says 21-year-old Josiah Aguilar was a member of the Slither Gang, which from January through May 2019 targeted robbery victims who were drug traffickers in North Dakota, Minnesota, and elsewhere. Authorities say Aguilar and other gang members carried out the robberies by threats of violence, infliction of violence, and brandishing of firearms and other dangerous weapons. Aguilar and the co-conspirators often resorted to home invasions or setting up victims to meet at a public place, then robbing them of drugs, money, firearms, and personal property, and later selling the drugs that they stole. Prosecutors arrested their case against Kim Potter in the shooting death of Dante Wright. Prosecutors wrapped up their week-long case against the former Brooklyn Center officer. It's now the defense's turn, and Potter's attorneys have said she will take the stand. Potter has said she meant to draw her taser instead of her handgun while attempting to stop Wright from trying to drive away while officers sought to arrest him. She shot him once, and it was recorded by officers' body cameras. Prosecutors have portrayed Potter as an experienced officer who had been trained to use a taser, including the danger of confusing it with a handgun. Minnesota's wild Wednesday weather has settled down finally. The National Weather Service issued severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado watches, and warnings as record-setting warmth, high winds, rain, and even some snow passed through parts of the state. Crews are expected out today to survey damage reports to determine if at least 3 tornadoes may have been part of the weather pattern, whether or not they were actually tornadoes or straight-line winds. Several dozen homes were damaged, power knocked out in Heartland, Minnesota. A second tornado was reported in Iota and a third in Plainview. If confirmed, they'd be the first ever tornadoes in Minnesota in December. Minnesota's passed an ugly COVID-19 milestone, 10,000 deaths attributed to the virus. The State Department of Health reported another 54 COVID-19 deaths yesterday, pushing the statewide total to 10,018. KFGO weather, meteorologist Tom Schminsky's forecast calling for decreasing clouds today. Continued windy with some blowing snow. High today about 11 degrees. Tonight partly cloudy, dipping down to a -2. Tomorrow mostly cloudy. Areas of light snow moving in, and a high of 12 degrees. Once again, a west wind at about 21 miles an hour, and under mostly cloudy skies, 7 degrees.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense of
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want with your microphone.
I'll just hit the button.
I would love for you to hit your button like you have done the past year.
Yeah. We just are picking on each other a lot lately. Our Christmas program.
It's the Christmas season.
Here I've been thinking a lot about our Christmas program that I put together. You helped. You really did. Oh, that look on her face.
Put together.
Abby just worked so hard on
Did you want me to walk out of your show now?
No, I don't. And the truth of the matter is she did all the work. I just was the
You had a great idea, though, for it.
Yeah, that worked.
You really did have a good idea.
Yep, we did. What we did was, and you're going to hear some voices on there that you'll recognize, but, I think, Abigail, this is a capitalistic society, right?
Mm-hmm.
You come up with ideas, you have a really good idea, and then you take that idea and you see if other people share that idea, and if they want that idea, and the next thing you know, you produce material for that idea, you take that material, and then you tell people and you ask people, is this something that you want? And they say yes. Okay. And then you think of something that the value matches the material, right? Now, I'm thinking that the Christmas show, we could make, I would say, 8 tracks, but that day's over.
Yeah.
How would you
have to podcast it.
Okay. But we should charge.
Charge.
I'm thinking what? $150?
$150 to listen to it?
No, like eggs. Going into the holidays, some produce.
To listen to it?
Yeah, just something.
Huh.
Heads of lettuce.
I don't know if I'm following.
Croutons. I'm thinking of all the food you need for
what you need at home. Yeah.
Yeah, some barter.
Yeah.
Money's just money. Money comes and goes, and money, in the old days, that's what they did, right? You went to town, you had a product, you might have had a hog, and then they gave you milk and bread and whatever. You swapped.
Yeah.
So I think we should do that.
I don't know if people would want to listen that bad, but it is really good. I think it's worth 150 eggs.
How many did I say?
You said 150. I don't, unless you meant like $1.50 worth of eggs.
Well, maybe the latter.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
How
But it
much
was
is
fun,
it?
wasn't it?
It was fun.
Yep. And so when will it be up as a podcast?
Do we? I should podcast it.
Right.
I
Later
think
on.
I would have to wait until after it plays on air.
Yeah. Okay.
And it'll play sometime on Christmas Eve.
And there's a number of radio stations that are listening to us that are like, we're not going to get that. Well, you know what? We'll make sure you get that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good idea.
Steve Dirkson's with me right now. Steve, believe me, talk about emergency response. Talk about, the Fargo Fire Chief. How you been?
I've been great.
I mean, you have been there during some of the worst times you possibly can have. People have lost their home, lost their livelihood, and in some cases lost their lives. We were just talking about that with somebody that traveled through that area in Kentucky, Tate Simblick. How do you deal with it? What do you do, Steve?
Well, the best thing to do is plan for those kind of things. Excuse me, I got a little bit of a cough here this morning. But that's why we have emergency management. It goes back to the old days of the civil defense, and it's evolved. And so we have a state Department of Emergency Services, and every county has a designated emergency manager. Mm-hmm. And in our case, in West Fargo and Fargo, we have emergency managers as well. And we build plans for things just like this. We exercise them. We determine in a predetermined manner of how we think we're going to operate. And we have a plan built up so that if something does happen, we can execute that plan, modify the plan, and move forward. So, in part of those plans are identifying where are we going to store rubble? How are people going to get it there? Who's the responsible person for it to get it there? So if my house is destroyed, it's going to be pretty hard for me to get a contractor, but I may have to get a contractor to get it to the road, and then maybe the city will come and pick it up and bring it to the designated spot where we can then separate the metals and the woods and the plastics and all those kind of things.
So, in many cases, the way government works, you put out a bid and then you got to post that for 30 days. And then you've got to, do individuals like the fire departments, do they have the ability to just say, look, this needs to get done, at least needs to get done now. I give authority for this to happen.
There's certain things that are allowed for us to do on an emergency basis. But the quickest thing, like when we have a flood here, and we're all familiar with that in the Fargo area, we get that declaration of an emergency through the mayor. Mm-hmm. Then we move it up. It goes to the state, and then maybe the governor signs a state of emergency. And if it's big enough, it maybe becomes a presidential declaration.
So then the normal rules of government contracts are gone.
Yep.
People like you can do what you got to do your job.
We still have to follow a process, but we can speed those things up.
Okay. So let's talk about the pre. Do you, if I'm the head of if I'm the Fargo school superintendent, if I'm the West Fargo school superintendent, I'm going to call you and say, all right, what do I do? What's the plan? Because that isn't their background. Do they do that? Do you come in and help them develop an emergency plan on getting kids to a safe place?
Yeah, we work with the schools all the time. We help build those plans. But like in Fargo and West Fargo, they do have an emergency planner within their organization, so that they're building those things. So they have extensive plans on if something happens at a school, how are we going to reunify the kids with the parents? Where are we going to take them? How is our information? All of that stuff going to flow? Those are all built in the plans, and we just grab it. This is who's responsible and start divvying it out.
How about the place to go to be safe? The candle factory that we're hearing more and more stories about didn't have proper planning, didn't have proper notification, actually made some terrible decisions once they knew trouble was coming their way. These employees' lives were put at risk and lost in some cases because of the way management dealt with it. If I were managing a factory like that, you'd be one of the first people I called before anything like this.
You know, all buildings are run through whatever the adopted building code is for whatever jurisdiction. In Fargo, it's the International Building Code, monitored by the Inspections Division, and they make sure buildings are constructed to the current code of the time. You know, if it was 50 years ago, it was to that code. There's not necessarily updates unless there's major things that happen. That's how that works.
So do you inspect those, or who goes in and says, okay, you're living up to what the standard is?
It's inspected at the time.
Okay.
You know, and then on the Fargo Fire Department side, we go in and do safety inspections and things like that, but we don't measure the building because we don't have that expertise.
Do bosses, buildings owners, those type of things, do they call you because it might be 50 years old, and it might not meet the standards of the day, but I want to make sure with that 50-year-old structure, I'm doing what I can for these people. Do they call you to get an evaluation or ask for advice?
You know, a lot of that's done early on as well, but as part of the International Fire Code, they do have to have an emergency evacuation plan, not necessarily a tornado plan.
Okay.
So it's somehow emergency evacuation. So when you walk in a building, you say, you are here, this is your way to get out. That's
okay.
That's what we're addressing.
Okay, I have to ask you the really crappy question now, the tough ones, but what is it like, or how hard is it to go to a structure that you know people are in and have lost their lives, and yet you still have to have that hope that maybe you might find that one person that hasn't? You know, the men and women that work for you, they're part of that.
Yep.
I mean, how do you develop the personality that can do it, that type of a thing?
I don't know if you develop it or not. It's just you find out, because there's no way to measure that moving in. It's a it's a gut check time, really, is what it is.
Hard. Stay with me, Steve, if you don't mind. And I really appreciate you giving us time. Last night, he nailed it. He told you what was going to happen. I was visiting this morning with someone, quite frankly, I'll just say his name, Perry Miller, making his way back to the north, and he saw a number of semis tipped over in the ditch. I was looking up at video today of people videotaping a semi that just in front of them tipped over because of high winds and icy conditions. Tom, this story, unfortunately, this storm was just what you told us it was going to be.
Yeah, there was some confusion in the message sent and the message received. Sometimes there's an interpretation issue. The toughest part of my job is not necessarily predicting. That's tough enough, but it's messaging it out so people understand it. Or actually, and I've heard from many of them already, the thought we're going to get tornadoes and severe thunderstorms.
You never said that.
I never said that, but somehow between what I was saying and what they interpreted, they thought that, because I think attention spans can be limited sometimes. So it's really tough sometimes to message that. But yes, I was messaging how southern Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, those areas would get pounded with severe weather. And these storms developed sometime in the mid to late afternoon, and Nebraska and Kansas moved eastward. Some of those, as I told you earlier, the storms themselves were moving 100 miles an hour, up to 100 miles an hour. And it was kind of a triple play with the wind, because some people got tornadoes and then the straight line winds. And then after these went through, just the wind associated with the low pressure system. So they had a triple threat with all the high wind, and highest wind gusts as measured in southeast Minnesota have been up around 85, 90 miles an hour. Rochester had a 78 mile per hour wind gust from just the low pressure system, and 77 with thunderstorms, kind of a separate thing. So National Weather Service teams are being dispatched to these areas to determine if they are a result of straight line wind or tornadoes. And you could tell by looking at it what the difference is.
How do you tell? Twisting
to the layman out there who may want to know, you go out and you see, is all the damage blown in one direction, okay? Are all the houses blown in one way, the trees down in the same direction? If so, that's usually straight line wind damage, okay? If they're helter-skelter all over the place, and there's like a house that's totally destroyed, and then the next house is totally missed, and then the next house is destroyed, that can be the result of a tornado. And then from that point forward, once a tornado is determined, they will try to assess the level of it, EF0 to EF5, okay? For instance, the ones that went through Kentucky were EF4s, the second highest on the scale, all right? Top wind gusts up to 190. All right, that's anticipated, estimated by the level of damage done there by those tornadoes. So that's what's going on during the daytime today. And people often ask, how come someone's house gets totally destroyed and the other one doesn't. Because what people don't see a lot of times inside the condensation funnel of the tornado itself, you may have several smaller vortexes rotating around the common center. So one of these mini funnels will hit house A, but totally skip over house B and then hit house C again. So that's what happens with these.
When you have straight line winds of 80, 90, 100, I don't know too many roofs that can handle that.
No.
It's the middle of winter, and some of these roofs must be gone for these folks.
Yeah.
You said power could be out, and now reports are coming in. Power is out. I mean, you said historic. Does it meet the test of what you thought it was going to be historic?
Yeah. I haven't gotten power outage estimates yet, but I will say historic in terms of where this type of weather occurred, at what time of the year on the calendar, and the magnitude to which it occurred. And, of course, this storm covered a big percentage of the nation's midsection.
Yeah. I want to get Mike on with us so we can quick get that a report on the way to the cities. What do you have, Mike?
Well, we ran into ribbon ice right around about halfway to Fergus Falls. And we're halfway between Fergus and Alex right now. Pretty darn icy combination with the wind. Even the heavily loaded trucks that have got a load on are going slow.
Yeah.
So it's pretty treacherous road, really.
Thank you.
Especially with the wind.
Thank you, Mike. A lot of people looking to go that way, so they really appreciate it. And I'm assuming some of the semis I saw by video tipping over, Tom, were, like Mike just pointed out, even the heavily loaded ones are going slow, while the ones that we saw there had to be empty.
Yeah, well, a combination of slippery roads and also these strong winds, high-profile vehicles are having a problem. I mean, I drive an SUV, and this morning when I was in, I could feel the wind pushing me around.
Yeah, I want to tie in with Dwight, too, so Steve and you can hear what he has to say. Dwight, you're on News and Views. All right, I'm going to put him on hold, see if Abby can touch back with him. What's going on in the weather today, Tom?
Well, quieter. Northern Minnesota still getting some snow. That'll end, and the winds are pretty strong in the eastern Dakotas and Minnesota still. So some leftover slipperiness on the roads. The blowing snow threat is basically over except for the open country, and that will improve as well. We do have another weather system coming in tomorrow, Joe, that'll affect the central and eastern Dakotas and Minnesota. There could be a couple more inches with that one. Temperatures will be quite chilly today. Single numbers north, teens and 20s south. Some of us could get below zero tonight, and it looks like highs tomorrow will generally be in the 5 to 15 range across the region. So, yeah, we're going to stay cold all the way through the weekend.
So when I was in Oaks, I had 2 great eggs over medium. I had sausage patties, I had wheat toast, and hash browns. So now,
is that all?
That was a great order, absolutely great order, came perfectly from Donna's Diner. I want to order my weather for Christmas.
Okay,
Are you ready?
What would you like?
I'd like it to be about 30 degrees, not 40, 30 degrees. I'd like it to be sunny, no wind, and just quite frankly, a day that the sun goes down about 10 at night and comes up about 5 in the morning. Can you do that?
Well,
for me?
that last part I can't do for you because that's not going to happen. The other part, I mean, 30 degrees on Christmas would be a wonderful day.
Yeah, I know. It has been before.
It does look like, by the way, there could be some snow coming in Christmas Eve and Christmas
That's
Day.
okay. That'll just get nostalgic.
Yeah.
Tom, thanks for what you do.
All right.
Thanks for what you do. It matters. Steve Dirksen, I'm going to hang on to him. He's the Fargo Fire Chief. He's got more information than you can imagine, so we're not letting him go. Stick around. Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page. And send us a text anytime at 35270.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know. To me, it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years. And I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, you know, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. It's the outdoors is it's awesome.
So today on MSUM campus we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek
Mighty
Hansen,
790.
Couch Potato Radio. Did you
Gordon
see
from
that
It
game?
Takes Two.
Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning.
Jerkins News Radio.
Katie Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces.
Too tall,
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
First off, thank you. If the KFGO table could be a little quiet over here.
Sorry. We're
Thanks. Grateful for this turnout. Good Lord, you guys showed up. Thank you. Give yourself a round of applause. Thursday night at Bar 9, and I want to thank Bar 9 for allowing us to come here, give a trigger away. Tip your waiters and waitresses, please. They're a busting tail here. Standing room only, so thank you, thank you, thank you. So what's about to happen right now, you've all come and registered. Eric Johnson is diligently spinning this golden drum.
That was good enough to give me some more time. We were talking about the planning, the just the humanity of terrible storms like this. I mean, we're talking storms, but you've seen it with fires and everything else. How do you make a determination when it's time to clear rubble versus search?
You know, we'll make efforts as long as we feel that there's viable, but there is a time when you have to have that tough discussion. And I go back to earlier this spring in Surfside, Florida. The fire chief down there, I had just been down there in Miami-Dade visiting with that chief, and about a month later the condo collapsed. He said that was some of the toughest discussions at whatever day. We had to have the conversations. The family was over here. We met with them every day. Okay, now we have, the reality is we are in a recovery mode.
Did he say they understood, or they just, because the hardest part would be them not realizing it and you not being able to tell them, yes, we will.
Yeah. It's always a tough deal, and it's every person's different.
Yeah.
Everybody handles it.
That was a foolish question. Yeah. So let's stick around, Steve. Yep. Just a couple more mechanical issues to all of this emergency response. I'm not used to talking about tornadoes and straight line winds. I use words like blizzards this time of year. I mean, this is scary stuff. We'll be back with more right after this.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to.
Thank you. If the KFGO table could be a little quiet over here.
Sorry. We're taking show.
Grateful for this turnout. Good Lord, you guys showed up. Thank you. Give yourself a Thursday night at Bar 9. I want to thank Bar 9 for allowing us to come here, give a trigger away. Tip your waiters and waitresses, please. They are busting tail here. Standing room only, so thank you, thank you, thank you. So what's about to happen right now, you've all come and registered. Eric Johnson is diligently spinning this golden drum. And I do mean very diligently. And in a moment, I'm going to read a name, and that name needs to be present to win. And if your name's called, I want you to yell very loudly and then come get your tray. All right, you ready? Let's do it.
KFGO News, Fargo-Moorhead. We have a mostly cloudy sky, 6 degrees. I'm Paul Jurgens. About 11 for our high this afternoon. A line of storms brought high wind and several possible December tornadoes to southern Minnesota last night, something that has never happened in recorded state history. A tornado was reported in Plainview, that is northeast of Rochester. Another unconfirmed twister struck near Wabasha. There are also reports of heavy damage to buildings and homes in Heartland. That's a town of about 300 southwest of Albert Lea. There have been no known injuries. Xcel Energy said there were more than 10,000 people without power statewide after those storms rolled through. Prosecutors have rested their case against Kim Potter in the shooting death of Dante Wright. They wrapped up their week-long case against the former Brooklyn Center officer. It's now the defense's turn, and Potter's attorney have said she will take the stand. Potter has said she meant to draw her taser instead of her handgun while attempting to stop Wright from trying to drive away while officers sought to arrest him. North Dakota Senate Majority Leader Rich Wardner will not seek re-election next year.
3 years ago, I made a decision that this term would be my last.
A Dickinson Republican has been in the state legislature for 32 years, 24 of them in the Senate, with 10 years as majority leader. At a Capitol News conference, Wardner said a lot's been accomplished and credits the teamwork shown in the Senate and with his House colleagues. He says the Republican Party and the state needs to come together to focus on shared needs and common goals.
3 years ago, I made a decision that this term would be my last.
Wardner says he plans to stay involved in the Dickinson community. He says he would like to look at opportunities in education. Governor Burgum and National Guard Adjutant General Major General Al Dorman went with 125 soldiers from the Bismarck-based 957th Engineering Company along the U.S.-Mexico border in Texas. They're expected to be on duty for a year, assisting Customs and Border Protection at the border. The governor's office says in the 2 months the 957th has been at the border, troops have helped CBP apprehend 30,000 migrants. For the year ending September 30th, Customs and Border Protection recorded nearly 2,600 encounters with migrants attempting to cross the border illegally, compared with 40,000 the previous year in the 957's operating sector. KFGO Weather Center forecast: decreasing clouds, wind decreasing today, some blowing snow yet. Meteorologist Tom Szymanski is expecting an afternoon high of about 11 degrees. Then overnight, partly cloudy, will drop below zero, it appears, 2 below or so for the overnight low. Then mostly cloudy tomorrow, some light snow, high of 12. Tomorrow night, areas of light snow should end, and the overnight low about 2 below zero. Accumulation snow-wise, 1 to 3 inches possible tomorrow through tomorrow night. Fargo-Moorhead, again, mostly cloudy. It is 6 degrees. Paul Juergens, News Radio, KFGO.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. The hospital last night. And I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to.
Thank you. If the KFGO table can be a little quiet over here.
Sorry. We're taking show.
Thanks. Grateful for this turnout. Good Lord, you guys showed up. Thank you. Give yourself a round. Thursday night at Bar 9, I want to thank Bar 9 for allowing us to come here, give a trigger away. Tip your waiters and waitresses, please. They are busting tail here. Standing room only, so thank you, thank you, thank you. So what's about to happen right now, you've all come and registered. Eric Johnson is diligently spinning this golden drum. And I do mean very diligently. And in a moment, I'm going to read a name, and that name needs to be present to win. And if your name's called, I want you to yell very loudly and then come get your tray. All right, you ready? Let's do it.
Sitting here on the break thinking of Williston and the investment that they made in their fire department, knowing that their community was growing, and I've done radio from one of the new, one of the new stations they have, and you sit there as public, and sometimes you drive by these places. The rural fire departments now are. My dad was rural fire chief for 20 some years until he passed away, quite frankly, and they're so much better now than what my dad's department was. And that's nothing against you guys. That believe me, a lot of my uncles and neighbors and friends and fellow softball players, the point I'm trying to make is the turnout gear, the training, the certifications, everything that goes with that. And there's a reason for it. And when I was a volunteer rural firefighter, I didn't take it serious the way they do now. I didn't. I was like, okay, the fire whistle blows, you run, you grab the truck, you go, kind of a thing. This now, Steve, it has gotten. Steve Dirksen is with us. He's the Fargo fire chief. Williston is a perfect example. You invest in yourself. You don't know when you're going to need it, but you know you're going to need it, Steve.
Absolutely. It's one of those things. It's a progression. Technology changes, the way we do things changes, equipment changes, and it gets better. It helps us to do our job better in a safer manner for firefighters. You mentioned the turnout gear. When I started this job 33 years ago, I got a coat that hung down to my knees and boots that pulled up to my hips. Now we have pants that we wear, suspenders hold it up. We wear hoods and gloves that protect us from the carcinogens and things like that we can be exposed to. Houses today versus 50 years ago have things that are way more dangerous to firefighters and to the homeowner because of how we live. It's our polyesters, the plastics that are involved in our carpets and things, our furniture, the foam and all that stuff. Way more dangerous to a citizen and to a firefighter.
Describe the relationship, and I'm not trying to cause trouble here, but I get paid to. Describe the relationship that you as a young firefighter that the department had then with police versus what it has now.
We always had a banter. I mean, it was always good because we were always there together. I started in a small town volunteer fire department just like you, and it was great because the guys that were standing there, they were the first ones on a call when I was a volunteer because the fire whistle blew, the cops ran out of town, made sure that they knew where we had to go, and they were standing there. They did a lot of things for us. But today that relationship has just even gotten better, and we work together in the 10 years I've been here in Fargo. The relationship between the Fargo Fire Department and the Fargo Police Department, we do more stuff together than we've ever done before, and we're going to continue to do more things because we're at these incidents together. We have to work together for the betterment of the community.
Yeah, and I'm willing to guess that you would include ambulance in all of that.
Absolutely. I just had a visit with Chief Zabalski a couple weeks ago, and we had the shooting here just down the block here, and 10 years ago, we wouldn't have operated as well together. We would have worked together. But we've done training on those type of incidents together that we didn't do 10 years ago, but we did it. We've done it in the last 5.
How are people treating the profession itself? I'm not talking about the ones you recruit to come in. You obviously do a very good job of that. But do people get the hell out of the way when you're going down the road? Do people respect what you're out against and not go gawking? You know what I'm getting at.
People always have that natural curiosity. They're always looking what's going on. One of the things that we find today is we've built better cars. I can remember as a kid when we go down the road in the wintertime, it was always cold in the seat that I had to sit in because they just weren't made as well. Today we have better sound deadening, better insulation. It's a quieter ride. We don't want to hear the road noise. We want to have our stereos on, iPods or whatever, our podcasts we're listening to. People just don't hear as well. And so they're not,
listening for that siren.
They're not hearing that siren and things like that. A guy like me, that's just something I'm trained in on and I listen to. But for the most part, when people do see us, they do move over.
Okay.
And they understand. We've had really huge public education campaigns over the years. This is affecting you because we're asking you to slow down in traffic, but somebody needs us. That's the bottom line. There's somebody waiting on the other end. We're just not running down the streets, lights and sirens just because it's fun. We're doing it because somebody's called us and they need us.
So there's 2 things that have to happen with my next question. Number 1, there's got to be a willingness. There's got to be an interest. Number 2, there's got to be an acceptance. And what I'm building up to here is how many how many women are in the department now? How has that changed during your career in terms of both genders being active in the profession?
I would say in the last 20 years, it's been more active. Departments that have that run an EMS ambulance response have always done better recruiting women. That's part of the job that's more attractive to females. In Fargo here, we've struggled, quite honestly, to find female candidates.
Okay.
I'd love to have more.
But that's my point. People try to break down numbers, and I've seen this before in, small side, nowhere compared to what you do, but I've seen it before in officiating.
Yeah.
People would talk to us, how come you football officials don't have more women doing it? They've got to wanna. Number one, they've got to want to, and hopefully they will. And now I'm seeing women officiating in the NFL, and that's a really, really good thing. And if you watch them, they're good at it. And the female firefighters you have, my guess is they pass your test.
Absolutely. And I've had this discussion with everybody. I don't. I recognize differences, but when I look at everybody, I see everybody the same. I see it as a firefighter. Everybody, it doesn't matter your skin color, your gender, whatever it might be. You're a person, you're qualified, you're trained to do the job. That's what I want. That's what the community expects.
So in this particular storm, Steve, and granted it wasn't in our backyard, we were on the tip of it here, but in this particular storm, people like Tom nailed it.
Yep.
You knew it was going to happen. You could see it coming for a little while ahead of time. What do you as a department do then, knowing that this might happen? How do you respond to it ahead of time, knowing that this might come?
We're always on the lookout. We rely on our emergency management folks. That's what their job is to kind of see what's happening out in the community. We have some different technologies. We listen to the different weather forecasts, and we know that something's coming up. So we'll talk about it in the department. We'll have a morning meeting, or if it changes during the day, we'll send notices out. If a tornado warning, we have policies in place for what we want our folks to do. If there's a tornado warning in Fargo, we tells you how we want you to put the truck. Where do you need to be in the building? Because we know if there's a tornado coming, we're going to be the first ones out there after it's gone. We're not, hopefully we're not out there in the middle of it when it happens. Sometimes we might
can't be.
We hope not to be.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we're in the building. We're in a safe place. We've got all of our stuff ready, and we've got our equipment so that, if the area where the station is involved in a tornado, if our doors get blown in, we can still get the truck out.
Okay.
Those kind of things.
So after it's all done and law enforcement, or quite frankly, the military sets up a perimeter and they leave you to do your job inside. How much coordination does that take? Because to me, for you to do what you have to do, the last thing in the world you need is me over your shoulder with a microphone.
Right.
And you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes back to the conversation we had earlier, is having those emergency operations plans. And setting up a place where the people that need to make the decisions on how we're going to operate, that's where we all gravitate to. We go there. We have the city policymakers. If we have to have city policy changed or something needs to be acted on, they have their section. They have the operations folks like myself and my assistant chiefs, police chiefs, captains, assistant chief. We all get together and direct what our folks are going to do out in the field, and we try to coordinate that as best we can. That's in the National Incident Command System. That's called a unified command, and we make those decisions together, because the last thing I want to do as the fire chief is wreck something for the police chief that he's going to have to go fix later, or public works, or a utility. We all want to work and coordinate all that together, and that's part of the whole system.
For me personally, that's some of the key things that you do. I mean, to me, you're sitting there, and if you can get word out through local media, say you've got a Robin Travers at Keys up in Williston, and you can use her as a tool as a news person, or Don Haney or Paul Juergens or one of our news people there to get word out, the less likely you are to have onlookers and that type of thing. Do you utilize the media that way?
Absolutely. Part of the National Incident Management System is public information. And so in the city of Fargo, and with Cass County in particular, because I'm familiar with that, we put a PIO group together, Public Information Officer, and they have a spot. We send out the Twitter, whatever it is, to all the media. This is where we're going to be. If you want the information, if you want the best information, come and get it here.
Yeah.
Because we're going to give you the truth. We're going to tell you what we need people to do. And then we'll provide regular updates. That's part of our whole plan in everything and how we operate.
Well, I tell you this, anybody who just listened to you heard professionalism, and they were left nodding their heads. So be safe out there.
Thanks, Joel.
And believe me, Christmas weather's going to be great. I ordered it already from the man we're about to talk to.
Perfect.
He's like Santa Claus for me.
I'm okay with the snow.
Let's get to Too Tall Tom Szymanski. Tom?
Yeah, well, there is some snow out there.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know. To me, it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years, and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
Here with another News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek Hansen, Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that? It Takes Two. Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces.
Too Tall Tom.
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Access, your home.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you.
First off, thank you. If the KFGO table could be a little quiet over here.
Sorry. We're talk show hosts.
Grateful for this turnout. Good Lord, you guys showed up. Thank you. Give yourself a round. Thursday night at Bar 9, and I want to thank Bar 9 for allowing us to come here, give a trigger away. Tip your waiters and waitresses, please. There are busting tail here. Standing room only, so thank you, thank you, thank you. So what's about to happen right now, you've all come and registered. Eric Johnson is diligently spinning this golden drum. And I do mean very diligently. And in a moment, I'm going to read a name, and that name needs to be present to win. And if your name's called, I want you to yell very loudly and then come get your tray. All right, you ready? Do it. For those of you that can't see, well, my hand is now going into the golden drum. I have pulled one name. Courtney? Yep. Courtney? Yeah, you can hear a pin drop. That's great. Courtney Lavanda? Courtney, get on up here. Courtney.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense of
making his way, quite frankly, because sometimes the planes don't go where you need them to go when you need them to go. And that's somebody Abby knows quite well as well. Perry Miller, who you hear guest host here a lot. Per, good to have you on.
Thanks, Joel.
Tell me what you're seeing. That's why I called you, and I'm pestering you. What are you seeing out there on the roadways?
Well, it had to have been windier than a talk show host convention down here last night. We, in Nebraska, on Highway 75, where we turned off at Topeka, there was 4 semis. They were southbound. They were laying on the opposite side of the road on their side, so they flipped on their side, skated across to the other side of the road. A couple of them were down in the ditch. And then we got into Iowa, and we saw 3 more that were blown off the road right off of the state. We saw some RVs and campers in a storage area that had been tossed around, and a lot of debris, strong barn panels, steel panels from buildings caught up in the fences along interstate. So it obviously not the kind of destruction even remotely close to what Kate was describing, but seriously, or obviously some very serious winds.
I saw some videos, Perry, that, of semis that are just getting pushed around. All of a sudden, the shoulder grabs them, and next thing you know, they are on their side. And, in today's world, you got a video camera right with you, and, some of that had to be just terrifying for those truckers.
Well, especially these fellas that were headed south, because they landed on the driver's side and then proceeded to skate all the way across to the other side of the road into the ditch. And their face is inches from the pavement. And you just hope that nobody was injured. They didn't appear to be really banged up, just flipped over and slid. So, like I say, you just have to hope and pray that nobody was hurt.
Yeah. Well, get yourself home safe and just pray that as bad as those winds were, they don't get as fast and as nasty on the rest of your trip as though there was a county commission meeting. Because Lord knows that's even windier than a talk show host convention. So there.
We would be blessed with wisdom and insight if that were the case.
Perry Miller, Richland County Commissioner and good friend. You're going to hear Perry here next week, guest hosting News and Views. And why? Because I'm going to take some time off. And why? Because I want to. And why is Perry going to do it? Because our standards are low. Abby, how's that?
Abby wouldn't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
All right. Well, say it, Perry. I know where you and Abby are going, so just say it.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Oh, tomorrow we're gonna go see the Bison finish JMU season for them, and then we'll all have a reason to go back to Frisco.
I was waiting for Go Herd. That's what I was always waiting for. All right. Talk to you later, Perry. When we come back, some tough information here from Red Willow. And I want to thank Mike Skoll from Northwood for letting me know. But this is a family a lot of us know. So stick around. More coming your way.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek Hansen, Couch Potato Radio.
JJ Gordon from It Takes Two.
Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning.
Jerkins News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Force.
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah
7.
Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page and send us a text anytime at 35270.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they...
News and weather brought to you by Bradfield and Equitable Agri-Finance, providing long-term fixed-rate financing to America's farmers and ranchers.
Fargo-Moorhead, we have a mostly cloudy sky and 7 degrees. I'm Paul Jerkins. 3 possible tornadoes reported in southern Minnesota late yesterday and last night as record-setting warmth, high wind, rain, and snow passed through. Reporter Mark Fry says several dozen homes were damaged and power was knocked out in the town of Heartland.
Freeborn County Sheriff Kurt Freitag says he's confident that a tornado touched down.
There are some indications of rotational damage, especially in some trees. The National Weather Service is going to investigate. They're going to determine whether or not Heartland did have a tornado or not.
It'd be the latest a tornado has ever been recorded in Minnesota in a calendar year. Just 4 years ago, Freeborn County experienced the earliest tornado ever in Minnesota, with one touching down March 6, 2017.
A second tornado was reported in Iota and a third in Plainville. Minnesota's top 10,000 confirmed COVID-19 deaths, while hospitals around the state continue to delay surgeries as coronavirus patients crowd hospitals. The State Department of Health says it took 187 days from March to September to increase from 7,000 to 8,000 deaths, 58 days to reach 9,000, and 39 days to reach 10,000. Hospitals have delayed procedures to free up beds. Prosecutors have rested their case now against Kim Potter in the shooting death of Daunte Wright. Prosecutors wrapped up their week-long case this morning against the former Brooklyn Center officer. It is now the defense's turn, and Potter's attorneys have said that she will take the stand. She said that she meant to draw her taser instead of her handgun while attempting to stop Wright from driving away while officers sought to arrest him. The North Dakota Senate Majority Leader is following through on a decision he made 3 years ago to retire from the legislature after more than 3 decades of service. Republican Senator Rich Wardner of Dickinson was first elected to the State House in 1990. He moved to the Senate in 1998 and was elected Majority Leader in 2011. The 79-year-old Wardner calls his official announcement a bittersweet day, but he says he's proud of the many goals that he has accomplished. Minnesota vehicle owners needing to renew their registration next month may have to wait for the sticker. The State Department of Public Safety is dealing with lingering supply chain complications that are slowing delivery. First shipment is not expected until Christmas Eve. About 52,000 registration renewals have been submitted so far, and more than 300,000 will be received by the end of January. Fargo-Moorhead decreasing clouds, wind decreasing as well this afternoon. Still some areas of blowing snow with meteorologist Tom Szymanski expecting a high in Fargo-Moorhead of about 11. Then tonight, 2 below under a partly cloudy sky, mostly cloudy. Tomorrow we may see some light snow. High of about 12 tomorrow night, light snow ending, and 2 below once again. And snowfall and accumulations, we would be in that 1 to 3 inch range tomorrow through tomorrow night. Fargo-Moorhead, mostly cloudy and 7 degrees.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know. To me, it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years. And I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was
It's getting to be the Christmas season, and every now and then, you lose people this time of year, and I hope we all keep those families in mind. I do. Most of us all of us, I would argue, that played softball, and you know what a big thing softball was. It still is in some communities. It's kind of gone by the wayside in others, but softball was it when I was young. It was a poor man's baseball. You didn't have enough people for amateur baseball anymore, and so just a lot of us played softball. For a number of years, I played over 100 games a year. My kids remember growing up next to a softball field, but Red Willow was like the gold standard for welcoming, for just, hey, come on out, have a good time. We'll have a tournament. We'll all just camp out. We'll mingle together. That was Red Willow. The Red Willow was this place that the Haynes family had. I think they probably still do have it. I'm not sure that they don't own it still, but they worked so hard at it. The old pavilion was a roller skating rink. It was a place where people met, and wedding dances and receptions, and it was everything that's great about a small town. And then you had all these ball fields, and you had a main field, and if you played well enough in that tournament, you got to play on the big field, and it was just amazing. And they were so welcoming. I mean, that's what I think about when I think about the Haynes family, is they wanted you there, and they appreciated the fact you were there, and that mattered. That mattered a lot to me. Well, I got word from Mike out of Northwood. He said, don't know how to get a hold of you, but I know you played a lot of softball at Red Willow. This past Monday, the Haynes' second son, Bobby, passed away. He was 61 years old. He didn't umpire much, but he was at the resort all the time. I met Bobby. And so to the Haynes family, on behalf of everybody that played ball, and even those that didn't, that are listening, who know that you helped kids, you helped people just have fun and fellowship in a way that included athletics, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your loss. And I'm sorry for the fact that it certainly happened this time of year. So many people are going to lose a loved one. The nature doesn't care that it's going to be Christmas in a week or so here, in a couple of weeks. Nature doesn't care about that. It cares. It is nature. And so keep those people in mind. I remember losing a grandparent right before I lost my grandpa right before Christmas. And I lost my grandmother a week later. And, so here this couple that had lived all of their adult lives together, died within a week. And I think there's a lot of stories about that happening out there. Want to throw something at you, call it personal privilege, call it whatever you want, but call it maybe an awakening too. As a talk show host, you can see things from a different light, and maybe you didn't look at it from other people's light. And when I say, personal, all things like this, when it comes to kids and grandkids, get personal. I realize that. The other thing that you want to keep in mind and you want to filter in this is that whatever criticism or whatever questions that someone like me might have, you have to filter it by, okay, they ticked him off because of his grandkids. But, I have to say this. I've been an advocate for the tough job that school boards have done for a long time. I've said that there's very few jobs tougher than being a school board member and being a county commissioner. But also keep this in mind. No different than being a state senator and coming home and being chewed out for what you did or what they think you did. I get that. But we run for those jobs. We ask for those jobs. We put our name on the ballot. And so while it's hard, it's tough, and you're going to get criticisms, you know what? You asked for it. Not to be criticized constantly. You're there to do something, that you can do to help your community, help your school, help your township, all of that. But you did ask for the job. And so criticism goes with the job. And so I want to give you a scenario, and then you can go ahead and text in to 35270 and say you're just a pouty grandfather. To me, what I'm about to describe to you doesn't have anything to do with a school, a teacher, anything like that. It has to do with geography, logistics. Because in the community that I'm talking about, in Fargo here, you have big high schools, like any community this size. You've got Fargo North, Fargo South. You've got, I would still call it Woodrow Wilson, but it's changed its name. I don't remember what it changed its name to as I looked to Abby for help.
Woodrow? Well, there's Shanley, Davies.
Yeah, but those are
West Fargo, Cheyenne.
Right, but Shanley's private, so is Oak Grove.
Yeah.
I'm talking about public schools. Anyway, you've got Davies. So you got three of the big high schools, and then one where kids that maybe need a little more attention are at, which is a good thing too, which tells you the dedication that the school district has. And when I say district, I mean the taxpayers. But how politics get into some of the decisions that affect kids' lives, it amazes me. It absolutely amazes me how people can let that happen. And here's where my rub is. If you're looking at these supposed neighborhood schools and you take people out of the neighborhood, then they're not neighborhood schools. Then they're not. In the case of Fargo, what you're going to see is a high school way down south. And that high school is called Davies High School, way south of 52nd Avenue. It's built for the future. It wasn't built with a vote. It was built by the school board, and they took some heat on it because the people of Fargo paid for it. But it's there because of the school board. So let's keep that in mind. It's not there because well, we were forced to put it there. It was there because the school board decided that's where they wanted it for future growth. They knew the city was going to grow south. Well, I got a daughter that knew the city was going to grow south as well, and she built a house in the south. In fact, if my grandson hit a ball hard enough twice, not once, he'd have to hit it twice, he could probably hit Davies High School. That's the close proximity they have. But north of him, considerably north of him, there's the neighborhood school Bennett that he goes to, right? He and his sister go to. And now you put a plan in place, and it's not done geographically with proximity, but the school board does it based upon, what they want a certain development to have to go do. And that's wrong. It should be done by geography. And so now, from being way down south, these kids never get to ride their bike to school. They never get to be next to the neighbors that they could hit the ball to play catch with in terms of their sports teams, anything like that. That they make them go across 52nd, folks. If you don't know what 52nd is, it's one of the busier arteries in Fargo, and then you got to go even further. So it's always going to happen on a bus. It's never going to happen on a bike. It's always going to happen and it isn't like the school there isn't a good school, but it isn't like it's the neighborhood. And so when complaints are made, and this is where the real rub comes in, when complaints are made or petitions are talked about or, all of those type of things happen, then you look at it and there's an acknowledgement that the kids that already go to school there should be able to hang with their classmates until that age group is out. So they use words like grandfather, right? Okay, well, that means two of my grandkids can grandfather in. It's like, okay, even though I totally disagree with the geography, your choices in geography, and you get selfish, and it's like, well, okay, that's, at least my grandkids. You start a sentence like, at least my grandkids. Well, that's a terrible way to start a sentence. It's a terrible way to start a sentence. It should be everybody's kids, because if the geography is there, the geography is there. And so when they grandfather in, how do you not grandfather in a family? If they've got a little sibling that's enters school next year, and then you say, well, we grandfathered them in, and that next one doesn't get to go to the same school, but that one can't go with his brother and sister. That's not right either. And I've advocated on behalf of this school board for a long time. I know some of them. I've pointed out how hard their job is, but how hard is it to look at a map? How hard is it to know the sheer logistics of it? And so while others have tried to point things like this out to me and have said that I just don't get it, and because I've served in public office, I've had to make some tough decisions, but I didn't make them based against people. I made those decisions based for people. And that's what's got me so disappointed. It does. And I guess I needed to get smacked. I needed to wake up and realize that some of the people I criticized were people that were right. And so to those people, I apologize. I do, because trust me, I get it. I understand it. And as a talk show host, I'll make sure you get a bigger platform to say it. Because when local decisions like that are made, and they're made strictly for political reasons based upon, this instead of just sheer geography, then you're not good at your job. You're not. And I will make sure that both sides get heard in the future. And it shouldn't have taken it happening to me or my family. It shouldn't have. And for that, I need to apologize. I do. All right, let's get to the weather cave and find Too Tall Tom. Tom?
Gusty wind and cold temperatures across the region.
Thanks for watching News and Views on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page. And send us a text anytime at 35270.
So today on the MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense of...
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know, to me it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years, and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek
Mighty
Hansen,
790.
Couch Potato Radio.
JJ Gordon from It Takes Two.
Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning.
Jerkins News Radio.
Katie Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces.
Too tall,
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your home.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you
Thank you. If the KFGO table could be a little quiet over here.
Sorry. We're talk show.
Grateful for this turnout. Good Lord, you guys showed up. Thank you. Give yourself a round. Thursday night at Bar 9. I want to thank Bar 9 for allowing us to come here, give a trigger away. Tip your waiters and waitresses, please. They're a busting tail here. Standing room only, so thank you, thank you, thank you. So what's about to happen right now, you've all come and registered. Eric Johnson is diligently spinning this golden drum. And I do mean very diligently. And in a moment, I'm going to read a name, and that name needs to be present to win. And if your name's called, I want you to yell very loudly and then come get your tray. All right, you ready? Do it. For those of you that can't see, where my hand is now going into the golden drum. I have pulled one name. Courtney? Yep. Courtney? Yeah, you can hear a pin drop. That's great. Courtney Lavonda? Courtney, get on up here.
we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets.
Now she's got her own big shot show, which I don't know. You hear, you listen to her, and people love her. So how you doing, AI?
Hi, Joel. I wanted to come on because, out here on KFGO in just a little bit, coming up in the noon hour, it's going to be the gold coin auction here on KFGO radio. And we have a lot of fun with this every year. I know you were actually a part of the gold coin auction one year while you were filling in. And it is a ton of fun. It is. It is a blast. It is really fun. And it's so fun to see the generosity of people in our community. So here's the deal. If you are a gold coin collector, or maybe you're just someone who's looking for a unique gift, or you want a way to give back to the Ronald McDonald House Charities of the Red River Valley, here's a way to do it. The Ronald McDonald House impacts so many people in our region. It's not just Fargo, it's not just Moorhead, it's not just West Fargo. People are coming from hours and hundreds of miles away to use the resources of the Ronald McDonald House, because if you have a child in need, this is a premier spot to get health care. And so if you are a family who is driving from far, far away, you need a place to stay. A hotel is really expensive, and that's what the Ronald McDonald House provides for families in our region and really even outside of our region. And so if you're looking to give back to an organization that gives so much to people, not only in and around our community, but outside, the Ronald McDonald House is the way to do it. And you can buy this gold coin during our auction today on KFGO from noon to 1 o'clock.
JJ Gordon, half of it takes 2. Should we use a code word? How are we going to do this? Because I want the gold coin.
Oh, is that what you want? Okay.
Hippopotamus. Okay. If you play, I want a hippopotamus, then I'll know.
So I think the thing is that there's a lot of people who missed out. Yesterday was the last day you can order something and get it delivered by Christmas.
Really?
So now if you want to...
You couldn't have told me that yet.
So Joel, this is a great gift for somebody in your life. And good news, you can pick it up right here. It's not stuck in a shipping container somewhere.
Okay, so here's the gold coin. It's an 1890s at 1890s.
Yep.
Liberty Double Eagle $20 gold coin. Now, that doesn't mean anything to me, but coin collectors, it means a lot to collectors.
It's in great shape, too.
Yeah.
Great shape.
We saw a photo of it. They're bringing it in today. They're going to be here from noon to 1. And here's what we're going to do. We're just going to anonymously take your bids off the air. We'll announce where the coin is at as we go along, and you'll just keep calling it in and bidding it up. It's pretty fun.
It's an auction.
It is.
It's an old-fashioned auction.
It's an old-fashioned.
Hey, all right, open the gate.
No, not old-fashioned.
cattle?
We won't be doing that. We won't be making any auctioning calls. Although I would like to go to auction school so I could learn how to do that.
It's not easy. You think
know.
it's easy, but
No,
it's not easy.
I don't think it is.
There's a cadence. There's a skill.
Yeah, there's a 5. There's a 5. There's a 5. Can I get 10? Can I get 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 20 over there?
The good auctioneers really don't let you know what you bid.
100%. You're like, how much did I spend on that?
Yeah, it's like, I didn't bid that. They went, oh, yeah, you did. Oh, yeah, you did. So it starts when, AI?
Starts at noon today. Noon today. It'll go till 1 o'clock. It's a 1-hour auction. We'll be taking your bids off the air anonymously, and we'll keep you updated on the air as to where the coin is at.
And the money goes to?
The Ronald McDonald House.
Couldn't go to a better cause, guys. Great job. Absolutely great job. I can't spell hippopotamus, but I can say it.
Do you just want hippo? Do you just want
hippo?
Hippo, $1,000. All right, Joel starting it at $1,000 bid today.
Oh, wait a second.
There you go, right? I'm a good auctioneer.
Yeah, that is.
All right, tomorrow is, what day is tomorrow again, Ab?
It's Friday.
That it is, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you back here then. Until then, it's been good riding with you.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know. To me, it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years, and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like